All right, what's up, YouTube? So today, somebody asked me, or actually yesterday, somebody asked me to give them a video of my button settings for Marvel Rivals for my Azeron. So let me turn my light on real quick, just so you can see the Azeron better. Right, this bad boy better. It's cool. So the Azeron is a keypad that replaces your keyboard for if you don't want to like reach, from one side of your keyboard to the other. You don't like reaching for the number keys, or you don't like using your movement fingers for every other key on the thing, where it's like you can't really move diagonally and press another button at the same time, or do like intricate movements and press certain buttons. So you have to have very specific like key mapping so that you can press certain stuff while you're still moving forward or backward or whatever, right? And this eliminates the need for that. There are some people that are fine with that. If you're fine with pressing buttons like that, this is not going to make you necessarily better. It'll just make you more efficient at pressing buttons. That's pretty much it. That's what it makes it more comfortable and efficient to press buttons. Does not make you a god gamer. I kind of am tired of seeing people using that as a marketing tool, as like wanting people to get the Azeron because it's going to make you so much better at the game. No, your decision making is what's going to make you better at the game, but this may help you execute better because you're able to reach buttons a little easier. I don't really change any of the buttons in the game. Like, I don't really change them in the game. There's some stuff I might change. Like today I changed the Luna Snow's ult to scroll wheel because it'll allow you to get both of her things to just proc over and over again. If you roll your scroll wheel at a very specific speed, it'll make it switch back and forth really quickly. But if you scroll too fast, it won't change at all. So you gotta like you gotta put it on freewheel and scroll it slowly and let it roll, and then it will switch back and forth really quickly. Anyway, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the Azeron here. So if I go to the Azeron software, right? This software shows all of your buttons for the Azeron, and the Azeron Cyborg 2 has a new button that they added, which is right here. It's on the thumb. The thumb used to have it has two buttons here. You can probably see it, that I have a green button down here and a pink button up here. It used to be one button right here, but they added a new button on the Cyborg 2, which is pretty cool. Gives you another option or whatever. So those two buttons are right here. If you look on the software, and you can see the bottom of this. Yeah, you can see the bottom of it. And so I have my wait, I'm on the wrong thing. So let me go back to Marvel. My bad. So I have jump space, or space control shift is what I have here all the time. These buttons don't change. So it's usually jump, crouch, sprint, right? And on this game, there isn't a sprint. So I leave shift where it is, but this is usually your movement ability. For some characters, it's not a specific movement ability, but it's a ability that relates to movement. So with Mantis, it's not a movement ability, it's a sleep ability. But in my brain, I file it away as a movement ability because when you use it, it allows you to get away from your opponent. So like if somebody jumps on you and you put them to sleep, they can't move, but now you can move infinitely faster than them to get away because they're asleep. So like that's why I classify it as like a quote unquote movement ability. Here I have melee for when I do need it for like melee heroes or melee characters that or no, actually just for characters that will need to use their melee. So like Doctor Strange is one of those characters where he's not a melee character, but he needs to use his melee sometimes. So you want to like firing your primary fire and then using melee to cancel it. And if you're up close on somebody, you'll fire the primary fire into them, and then you'll use your melee to cancel it, and that's more damage and more meter for your dark magic meter that's in the middle of the screen. So melee is here. The way I do it is I have usually all my movement keys are here, and then something, this is usually clear because I don't have anything to put here, but then I'll figure out something to put there that is important that needs to be pressed like super quickly. The further away I put my buttons, or the less comfortable it is for me to press that button, then I put the least important things on those buttons. Now, not to say that any of these buttons are uncomfortable to press, but like if you have to press a button multiple times, or you're always using it, like jump, you want it to be the most comfortable and easiest button to press because you're using it the most often, right? So the buttons that I use less often, I put on different places further away. They're all pretty close, like you don't have to move your fingers super far, but like even so, like pressing these buttons is not as fast as pressing these buttons, even though they're right next to each other. It is milliseconds. Like, it's, if you use an Azeron, you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll understand what I'm saying. But like, then this button right here, where you use your finger to kick the button, which I call it a finger kick, because like you're using the back of your fingernail to hit this button. Those are like I use this one for scoreboard. Like if I want to check the scoreboard real quick, I just, hold that on tab to check the scoreboard real quick. I put chronovision on this button so that I can hit this button to check and see what things are damaged. Sometimes I bump it by accident and it makes my whole like screen white, but it doesn't stop you from like fighting or anything like that. This I have as my push to talk button. I don't think this is anything. Actually, I don't remember. I don't think that's anything, but I think I had it as push to talk, but I changed it. But and then here I have character sheet. So here I press this with the back of my knuckle, and the Cyborg 2, these buttons up top, the scorpion tail buttons. On the first Cyborg, I didn't like them. They were, the first Cyborg, the buttons up here were similar to the buttons that are down in the finger well, and it didn't feel good to press them because they actuated in the opposite direction. I think the idea was that they wanted you to lift your finger up past here, like for the finger kick, and hit the top of this with your fingernail, and it's not really great to hit that. It's not really great to hit that with your fingernail. It didn't feel too good. So I don't do it that way. But then they changed it so that they actuate in the other way, where it's easier to press them. So when I bump my finger into this, I know I'm confident in that button is going to get pressed. But regardless of that, now that I use these for more things in more games, or I will use them in more things in more games, but I haven't used this in a whole lot of games yet because I've used my other one for like 2 years, or my other two. This one is the Cyborg Compact. And the Cyborg Compact doesn't have these buttons at the top. It has these flat buttons, so you can reach up and press them. And I used to use them pretty much for the same thing, like putting a character sheet here, or putting a menu button on there so I can hit it to see what my character stats are, or my skill sheet and stuff like that. That's what I put up there on those buttons most of the time. So then down here below is where I have my team abilities for this game. Team ability 1, 2, and 3. Usually they aren't necessarily made that way, but it's just like team ability 1, 2, and 3 I have here. So, and then they have the environmental interaction button over here, which I don't really use that often, but I just put it back here because it's like, okay, well, when I need to hit G, I know I just hit this button real quick. For team up abilities, for like Wolverine, we have to hit C, you hit this button. Then they have team up ability 1 or 2 is usually ones that you use. I feel like I use team ability 2 more often than the other things. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because some characters have multiple team up abilities or something like that, depending on who you match up with. But anyway, they have 3 team up ability buttons, and I put those down here depending on what I have to use, because I don't use them that often. But most of the time I'm using ability, like your F ability, your E ability, and your ultimate, which I have here, which are right in front of my movement buttons, and I already know what those are. So it's like I know my F ability is here. I know that my E ability is here, my ult is here. So ability 3 and 1 are the ones you use the most, and ability 2 is usually on, I think, your right click. So like ability 2 I have on, I think it's your right click, but I have a team ability. Oh, excuse me, why is team ability? Why is this here? This doesn't need to be here. So I had one team ability here before, but now I can put something else here. I have change hero on this. I may move change hero to this thing because it's just it only works in, you know, or not only works. It doesn't only work in practice. It's for when you're in the spawn area. But what I mean is, if you bump this button while you're in a fight, it's not gonna bring up like a menu or something. So it'll be like quick to press. It's like, okay, I want to press this. It's just as quick to press this one, but it's all about, you know, preference and what's comfortable to you. And then ping, I have here, maybe, so no, okay, so I was gonna say I would put ping here or put ping here, but I remember why I don't do that. So if you don't want any buttons on your D-pad nub, right, or on these thumb buttons that you would have to lift your finger off the joystick while you're moving to use. So like if you wanted to use ping while you were moving and it was on this, you would have to stop your character's movement and then hit ping. But ping should probably just be on my middle mouse click button. I think I'm gonna probably just do that because that's what it is. It's on middle mouse click, but usually I use something else for middle mouse click and I usually don't put it back. But let me see if I changed it to that, because I think I might have changed my my middle mouse click button back to regular mouse click. I did. Okay, so so when you need to ping something, it's just easier for me to use middle mouse click. Right. So too many attempts needs to be taken out. But it needs to be taken out or loosened a little bit, because sometimes you really need to ping certain enemies or whatever, and it says too many attempts, and it's like, well, there's another guy here now, so I need to ping him. But I mean, you don't necessarily ping that often, but I think they should definitely loosen it up a little bit. But yeah, it's easier for me to click that button. Usually I would use this, and I would be moving around. Like if you want to move around and press ping at the same time, with ping being like on this thumb button, right? So like, see here, I can change characters pretty quick by just tapping this button real fast, right? So in practice mode, it's like, oh, you know, I need to change my character. Okay, it's just without having to think about it, you just bump your finger into that. My escape button, I did move it. I used to have my escape button on the back on the D-pad nub. I used to have it on back, but I use escape so often on my first cyborg that I wore out the back, because you use escape to go into your menus a lot of the time, and you use escape to leave out of your menus a lot of the time, and to leave out of a lot of stuff. So I use escape a lot with it being right here, right? And it wore out the back click, so like it stopped clicking like it was supposed to. The other directions, forward, up, and down, were fine because I didn't use them that often as I would hit escape on a lot of things. So that's why I wanted to switch it from this, so that I didn't wear this out, and put escape down here on the bottom button. I wanted to use the bottom button for something else that was more useful, but I figured that since I have to take my thumb off of the joystick anyway, that when I take my thumb off the joystick to press down here, I would, you know, I'm going to not be moving, or I'm going to be doing something that requires me not to move anyway. So it's like, I'm going to take my finger off the joystick and then press escape to do that. So it's like, it's fine being down there. I think I'm going to get used to it being down there. But the problem is that when I use my other cyborg doesn't have that button down there. So if I go to reach for escape from muscle memory, it's going to be weird. But like now, I just have to remember that when I'm using my other cyborg, I have to use a different button for escape. Like I'm probably just going to use like down. I think I use down for escape, or use something else for escape that's not the D-pad nub maybe. But since I don't use the other one that often, I can have escape on there because I'm not using it for games and hit escape constantly, right? So that's pretty much how how my buttons are set up for this game and what the idea behind my buttons being set up that way is. I hope this helps other people that use the Azeron for Marvel Rivals and maybe haven't found a comfortable setup, and maybe this setup will help you. To be honest, you don't have to have your abilities to set up the way I do, but I personally think that having your ability 3 or your EF ability and your ult, and then having your wait, what? I personally think that having your EF ability, E ability, F ability, and your Q ability right here are probably best case scenario for your abilities, and then having your jump right here, and then having your movement ability here, and then your melee here, and when you raise and lower, having your flight lower here. So when I'm playing somebody like I guess perfect example, Storm, like I don't really play Storm, but like if I play Iron Man, or if I'm playing Star Lord or whatever, and you're gonna use jump to go up, and you use the other button right next to it to go down, and the other button is usually crouch. So in my mind, that's why it makes sense. So because like if I'm pressing jump to go up, which I usually press jump to go up in the sky, but flying characters don't come back down, right? So you go up and then you use crouch to go down, up, fly up with jump, and then crouch to go down, right? So that's how I think of it, and that's why I want them to leave them right next to each other. And usually my jump and my crouch are already here on every game I play. Any game that you can jump, any game that you can crouch or fly or whatever, that goes up and down with jump and crouch as descend, then I already have them set there, and I don't have to worry about that, and I just know that off the top of my head. Same thing with like sprint, whereas sprint is technically a movement ability, right, in other games. So like where it's like you press it to sprint, or you toggle sprint or whatever, it's always going to be on my what's the name, on my shift button. And movement abilities here, that's the way I thought of it in Overwatch, where it was like, all right, I'm gonna leave that over there, even though it is an ability and not really a sprint button, but it's usually my movement ability, or something that relates to movement on that shift button, so I know that it's gonna be there. So yeah, that's my idea behind my Azeron and how I have it set up for this game, and kind of like the general idea of how I have it set up for most games that I play. So I hope this helps. Thanks for watching. Like the video if you liked it, and please do subscribe for more. Help me push that YouTube subscriber number up even more. Don't let it go down. Just keep pushing that subscriber number as high as it could possibly go. I would appreciate it. Thanks. Peace.